Hello, everybody. Welcome. How's it going? It's been a while. I missed everybody. Been a few months since we were live, and welcome here to Bad House RPG. This is the Sun and Chains, a Tales of the Valiant game presented by Kobold Press with their Kobold Creates, a initiative project. Thank you so much, Kobold Press, for supporting us in allowing us to use your wonderful game system to dive into a world that we are so excited to present to you all. Not only that, Kobold Press is not our only sponsor. We are also sponsored by Hero Forge. As you can see on our character cards, our Hero Forge characters are there as they cycle through our overlay. Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop miniatures with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts and armor and clothes that you can starting now, you can kit bash. Kit bashing is a wonderful and interesting new addition to their system that allows you to take bits and parts of other things and create something of your own. So check out heroforge.com and be sure to check weekly. They add new things every so often. So sign up. You can use them for anything, for your digital games, for printing minis. Wonderful product. And thank you so much for supporting us in this show. That being said, let me introduce you to our wonderful and talented cast. Let's start with Kai.
Hi everybody, I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns. You can find me everywhere as Estelle of Imladris, but tonight you can find me here playing Hoshiro, who is a half-elven warlock who uses he, they pronouns.
Sin.
Hi, I'm Sin. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me anywhere as sensationally.me. I'm going to be playing Nyok, and I am playing a little guy kobold who is a mechanist wizard.
Joe. Muted.
I'm muted. Hello everyone, I am Josephine at Scary Dog Friend. I will be playing Jeong Hwa, or just Jeong Hwa, the half-orc, spellblade fighter.
Last but not least, Stella.
Hello everyone, I'm Stella Luna on Twitch, stellalunaTV on all other social media. Today I will be playing Song. We both use she, they pronouns. Song is a Sindarian monk ranger. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Fabian. I'm a producer here at Bad House RPG, and I am your game master for today. So let's just get into it, right? 400 years have passed since the lands of Albayin were plagued with invaders. These Westerners sought to come and take the land and assert their influence over it. During a long war, they were pushed out, and the people of this nation, of several nations, were able to rebuild to make themselves more stronger and to avoid any form of hostile takeover once more. They banded together and they created a capital city, which our story is set in. Albayin, named after the Flaming Bay during the time of the war. It is now a peaceful place. They have kept some of the structures and some of the architecture from colonization, as it's still quite practical to keep them. You have concrete buildings and well-made structures that house the now wonderful and flourishing businesses of this wonderful capital. A lot of the land has been mixed with different nations, from the north, from the south, from the east. And everybody has been living in harmony. This is in part by the hard work of the 8 houses that banded together to create the forces that pushed out our invaders. These houses, namely, let me check my notes so I don't mispronounce. The houses, namely the Senate, the Steel Legion, the Nameless Cabinet, the Dragonspark Collective, the Commonwealth, and the Verdant Providence, all created a strong base. But in a city, sometimes crime, and even the criminals, have a sort of investment in the nation flourishing. So with them, the Black Letter Syndicate, the Moonveil Cartel, sought to also join forces with them. And to keep the peace and keep the morale high, the Liu He Theater as well. Now, 400 years have passed, with everything that, with peace reigning supreme all around and progress, we open up at a sad sight. The town has been informed that the sovereign has passed away. Everybody loved the sovereign. He was a fair ruler. Each house, while the citizens of this capital are in mourning, each house took the chance to see who would rule next. There was never any person listed to take the reins after that. Not a monarchy. And it's been a while since an election has been done. To ensure the fair succession of power, each of the houses banded together, and 4 representatives per each faction were chosen. It has been a secret for a while, but on the day of the funeral, these 4 council members are called upon to represent and are about to get briefed as to what their purpose will be. On the marble floors, echoing with footsteps, and the wooden structures laced with gold, walking down the hallway, Hoshiro, how are you feeling about being chosen by, I believe you are a member of the Black Letter Syndicate?
Correct.
How do you feel about the Black Letter Syndicate and the Senate choosing you as their representative?
There's always a reason for things like this, and Hoshiro is feeling opportunity more than anything else, like when a shark smells blood in the water.
How does...
There's momentum.
Oh, please continue.
Oh, there's momentum in the moment.
Okay. How do you feel about not knowing who your fellow council members are?
That he's much less comfortable about. He's a very calculated person, so walking into a group of unknowns, he very seldom walks into a room of power without knowing who's inside. He's nervous.
door opens, and you are the first to arrive. What does the camera see?
Hoshiro steps through this grand door. He is, about 5'8", 5'10", somewhere in there. He is a tan-skinned, human-looking person. The only indication that he has any elven descent in him is he does have slightly pointed ears. But the most obvious things that people see on him, besides his somewhat ostentatious clothes, they're not loud, but they're very well made. They're expensive, and there's a age to them. They've been around a while. But the most obvious thing about him is every place that you can see on his body, his face, his neck, his hands, all of it has tattoos. And the one spiraling up his face is cracks of black inky lightning. And is one of the first things anyone ever sees on him. And he has bright crystal blue eyes. And he steps in, and you can hear the sound of a sure-footed boot. 1, 2, as he steps around the room and starts to examine every shadow in the place.
As you examine every shadow, an unpleasant smell hits your nose of the slums. Kaburagi the beggar, one of the higher ups in the black, forgetting my own world building, from the Black Letter Syndicate, walks in with 2 teenage beggars as well. You assume that Kaburagi is here to oversee, to meet the other council members, to tell the rest that we will be working with whoever will show up next.
Despite the crinkle in his nose, Hoshiro stops, respectfully puts his hands at his waist, and gives a small bow.
They bow back.
Kaburagi-sama, how
Ah,
can I help you?
Hoshiro. Well, it's nice to see that you're punctual as always.
The shadows keep time.
Yes. This place is not really my... I don't really feel at home in this area.
It doesn't seem to fit you.
I feel open. I feel... just vulnerable. I hate it.
But look up. We've been invited into the larger chambers where decisions happen for once.
Of course.
Invited.
Yes. And, I'd be a fool not to take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. Well, let's have a seat. I can't wait to eat the wonderful food the capital has to offer. I think I smelled some grilled fish and wonderful meats coming from the kitchen.
Uh-oh.
We missed just the last bit of that.
Oh, just the wonderful meats from the kitchen. I am quite excited.
I cannot wait. But before he gets situated, I think we see just behind Hoshiro's head as he runs a marked finger down the back of his ear against his skin where we see a single black raven feather, and he pulls on it, and you see a tendril of ink pull off as the tattoo vanishes, and he pulls from it a raven that sits on his arm, solid and real. And wordlessly, he just looks at it, kind of gives it a little bump on the head with his own, and then sends it up into the rafters.
Fantastic. This is your familiar, I assume. It will look over everything, correct?
Correct. This is my familiar.
there's anything that your familiar senses, I will let you know.
Perfect. Thank you.
Not too long from your arrival, Jeong Hwa stomps down the hallways of the Capitol building. How are you feeling about everything? The death of the sovereign, going into this, being chosen by your peers in the Steel Legion and the Commonwealth.
Given I've worked so closely with the Sovereign's cabinet, with everyone involved, the fact that I don't know everything that's going on, that there was apparently a plan that preceded me. I keep a brave, strong face, but I am irritated. No one really wants to see me irritated. So, for now, we'll see who all's involved. And I swear to God, if anyone from the Syndicate is chosen, it won't be pretty.
You enter the threshold and you see 4 individuals. Stench of the slums that you're not so familiar with, but you still have been acquainted with. Hits your nose. You pass the threshold. What does the camera see?
We see Jeong Hwa. My last name De, as to mean the strength of the bamboo. I am a 7-foot tall, green skin, green hair, piercing yellow eyes, very masculine older woman, square jaw. I'm in my late 50s or so, and my purple and blue armor, my very stately uniform is what I don. And to be very honest with anyone who has an eye for the styles of armor and uniform, it is a fairly bit of a Western style.
Okay. Just noting some stuff. Okay. As you enter, you see Hoshiro, Black Letter Syndicate, and the one that you know as the Beggar. Do not know their name, but they have their reputation.
Could I make some kind of internal check here to see what I remember? If I've heard
Sure.
anything?
Make a history check.
15.
15. The Beggar, while you do not know their name, you know their purpose. They are the eyes and ears of the Black Letter Syndicate, from the slums to the upper city. And they, you can assume, are either the council member or the person that they are choosing to represent and kind of join the meeting as kind of the briefing. You see Hoshiro. I'm not entirely sure between the two of you if you have met before, but you do notice this gentleman clearly probably a spy. But yeah, with that 15, that's what you know about the Beggar. You know that he utilizes the street urchins, which you now notice 2 of them are next to them. He pipes up and is like, more company. Please sit.
make it a point to take a very patriarchal seat in the structure of the table that we have. Do I have any attendants with me?
It seems like they're running late, but as you take your
Annoying.
seats, a few minutes later, Captain Song Ryu of the Steel Legion arrives with 2 other guards. Captain Song Ryu is known to helm the Expeditious Guard. They tend to head towards trade routes to make sure that everything is copacetic. They are the ones that venture outside of the capital. And your section is more tended to warfare, I believe, correct? You rarely work with them, but this seems to be the person that they sent for the briefing.
I regard them warmly, but then when I turn to my side, gesturing for the captain to meet my ear, I should never be here first. Do you understand?
She laughs and says, "You need to lighten up more, Jeong Hwa. There has been a great tragedy in the city. I need to make sure that everything is in order."
I
But
think
I do.
regardless,
Continue, please.
that will be Lord Jeong Hwa. Thank you.
Ambitious one. I do apologize for being a few minutes late. I should have been here first, and she looks at the other figures. I'm surprised that we aren't. Guards, and they stand by the door. Takes a seat next to you. She makes it a show to sit by your left side.
Could I make a last remark before we move on?
Of course.
I look over to the 2 street urchin teenagers on your side, Hoshiro. Should we get them some better clothing, perhaps?
I think Hoshiro chooses to not engage very pointedly.
One of the kids smirks, and as if they were chewing something, maybe tobacco, spits on the ground and looks at you with a smile. See them missing one of their front teeth.
I just sit back.
Song. You gracefully tread the hallways of the Capitol building. How are you feeling as the representative of the Nameless Cabinet? Going into this, being a part of the council, how do you feel about not knowing who you're working with?
So it might be the belief that we don't know, and perhaps we aren't exactly sure, but we do have speculations. Lists of possibilities have been drawn and formulas have been taken. It's all a matter of probability at this point. Perhaps there might be a plot twist or another, but I am as prepared as I can be. And as I'm walking the halls, I am thinking of the various names that my fellow spy masters have brought together. I won't know until I step in through the doors of the chamber, but I might know them before they know me.
Roll me a luck check.
Okay.
You want an 11 or higher.
Okay. I'm gonna re-roll that 6.
Okay.
A 14.
14. Roll me a d4.
D4. 2.
2. You know that a representative of the Dragonspark Collective is coming. Their name is Nyok.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. Nobody really knows a lot about Nyok. They are new to the Dragonspark Collective, and I believe the only thing that you do know about them is they present promise in their practice. So it makes sense that they are chosen to be a part of this. And the next name that you've heard that most likely will be added into this council is, let's get your full name, Saigo-sama Hoshiro.
As I'm walking the halls approaching my destination, I can't help but reach up and touch my cheek. A remembrance of a former moment I might have had with this person. But I try to keep such thoughts at bay. I'm working now.
As you get to the door, you see a very pale-skinned man, dark, long hair, immaculately dressed in a traditionally Chinese attire. It is all black with a bunch of crows embroidered on them. And it is Dylan, who is, they are half elf, and they are another member of the Nameless Cabinet. You know that they are one of the burgeoning spy masters. And they've come alone. Oh, Miss Song. Glad to see that you're here already.
Of course. Perhaps I am not too late?
Oh, I think just in time. I would have come here earlier, but I wanted to pay my respects to the sovereign. I also wanted to see how the masses were.
Of course.
So
Our greatest loss.
I know.
Indeed.
He opens
How
the
were
door.
the crowds?
Oh, the crowds, well, it's quite split in the middle. You have people who love the sovereign, who are mourning as they should. And you have wannabe revolutionaries that say that their fear is showing. I believe the citizens know what we're doing, and they are worried that the secession of power might only favor the privileged rather than the people. But that's why we're here.
Of course. Indeed. Please, let me not keep us.
Of course. He opens the door and kind of gestures his hand for you to go first.
As I step through, I do so quietly, almost soundlessly stepping into the room.
What does the camera see?
Song is 5'7", mostly athletic in build. Most striking of her features is that her skin is white, pure white, ghostly white, and it matches her hair. Clothing that she wears, it is soft of material and flexible, giving the appearance almost of a dancer. The fabric shifts with her every movement as she glides in, and it accentuates. It doesn't hamper, it doesn't hold back, it doesn't restrain. And she has a very demure air to her. She doesn't draw attention. She lowers her eyes and her head, bows if anyone looks her way. She slips forward. She is visibly Sindarian, someone of an ancestry not of this world. Somewhere other, somewhere far away.
And as you enter, you see two other council members and their respective representative. You know the beggar. You know Captain Songdu. And you have seen Jeong Hwa before on the front lines, war councils. Another person that you see there is Hoshiro. How do you feel about seeing Hoshiro right now? Oh, Hoshiro, how do you feel about seeing Song enter the room?
I was just going to say Hoshiro is looking straight at Song, jaw set. There is just the ghost of a smile at the corner of his lips that have been otherwise motionless this entire time.
As Song's eyes meet yours, she smiles openly. But it doesn't necessarily touch her eyes, and it is the same exact manicured smile as she gives everyone else in the room. But it is ultimately Jeong Hwa in which she addresses. Hello, it is a pleasure to meet you. I do not believe we have been made former acquaintance.
Is it apparent that this is the Nameless Cabinet to Jeong Hwa?
It is. As
Okay.
Dylan enters, you know that Dylan is a very political figure in the Nameless Cabinet. He is known as the face of the Nameless Cabinet. He goes to all the meetings, war councils. He is known to be less of a warrior, but more of a politician, for sure. And an equally proficient spy master.
I think he would know that I am a big fan of him. So I think I regard the both of you with a lot of interest very suddenly. The energy shifts completely. And I make sure to stand and bow to the two of you.
I mirror the bow deeply from my hips. My hair almost touches the floor as I sweep down gracefully.
See Dylan kind of openly welcome you, Jeong Hwa, and kind of greet you. Like, Jeong Hwa, it is quite the honor to meet you in person, and I'm quite excited to know that you are one of our council members. Captain Songdu, and he gives them quite a kind of like a very warm welcome, a bit too close as they touch cheek to cheek, and he regards the guards, and he stands at attention and gives a deep bow to the beggar. Says, "Sir, I admire your work, and I'm excited to be working with you." Whatever. So where is the food? I am starving. I'm sure that once we get the whole group together, that we will have our moment to dine. And he takes out a bag of peanuts and messily starts taking the skin off the peanuts, eating them, and throwing them on the ground. One of the kids takes an apple out. It's really dirty. He kind of wipes it off of his like dirtied kind of shirt, and it's still dirty. He just like smudges it, he licks it, and then smudges it. He just decides to bite in, and the other one keeps chewing their tobacco and spitting on the ground here and there. Lastly, Yoke, you have been instructed to wait for your representative outside of the building. You have been told that this representative is very strict, that you need to follow them to the T. They're very neurotic. How are you feeling waiting for your representative to usher you to the council room?
I'm really anxious. I am pacing back and forth. I am continuously casting Mage Hand so that it's under my vest, rubbing my back to ensure that I am breathing and I'm soothed and it's gonna be okay. And, we're kind of running late and it's like, I saw other people entering the building and we're not entering the building. Maybe it's for a different meeting, but we might also just be really late. And I'm just like pacing, trying so hard to be like, I'm good.
How do you feel about being chosen to represent the Dragon Spark Collective and the Moonvale, what was the name? My bad. Moonvale Cartel?
I thought it was, at first I was very excited because I thought it was just like a representative just for this meeting. And then it came with more duties, and I am not emotionally prepared, I'm not intellectually prepared, and I'm here. And you know what? Maybe it's just because I was the best choice, because that has to be the only reason I was picked. I was the only one available and good enough.
As your mage hand is rubbing your back to soothe your emotions and calm you down, you see at a distance, brisk walking with a huge, kind of lacquered box, a human man about their late 20s, early 30s, brisk walking towards you, wearing the colors of the Dragon Spark Collective. You see them with dark hair and this kind of stripe of white in the front of their by their hair. And they look at you unblinking. Are you Nyok?
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Yes. You can say no or no.
No.
They both work.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You haven't been waiting too long, right?
Well,
You're tiny.
No.
And he kind of kneels down. And he gets to you about a foot away from your face.
Yeah, I was told that I'm tall enough to do what I need to do.
Good. Well, sorry to keep you waiting. I didn't feel right not coming to this meeting, not bringing anything. And you see him open the box. It's you want a mooncake?
Am I supposed to present the mooncake? Do I eat the mooncake?
It's for you.
Was I supposed to bring something?
No.
Oh.
This is
Okay.
This is a gift from both of us.
Oh, okay. Is it rude if I take it and not eat it? Because if I eat now, I might throw up.
Oh. Let's not waste it. And he puts it back in the box.
Okay. We'll eat after.
All right. Okay. And he starts brisk walking, not realizing how short you are.
I'm speed walking.
You guys get through the halls of the Capitol building. And after a while, in silence, the rest of you finally get your fourth member of the council. If
I may,
Yes.
I would not have allowed silence. I would have had a great collection of questions and small talk. I've been trained in the art of conversation.
Sure.
I would keep it flowing. But it is all very unsubstantial.
As Nyuk and this person who never really was polite enough to introduce themselves to their own fellow Dragonspark collective member, Yes. What were the conversations happening as you were waiting for them?
Oh, harmless questions to inquire more about them, how their day was, the finery in which they're wearing, or anything of particular interest on their person, where it might have come from. It's very unimportant, and it's mostly just to warm them up for further conversation.
The two of you, how are you responding to this?
I'm answering questions only from anyone in the Nameless Cabinet, and if any conversation happens between me or any of the Syndicate members, it's not happening.
Wow. Hoshiro answers the questions if they are put to him, and no other time at all. And keeps it to like one sentence under 4 words.
I think every time a question is sent towards Hoshiro and the black letter, there's a lot of heavy eye contact coming from Song.
Prolonged
Yeah.
eye contact.
Yes.
As your conversation continues and is interrupted by the beggar just scratching his nuts in front of you all, the door opens. You see, the rest of you see the man that Nyuk is accompanied by, with a lacquered box. Says, "Sorry we're late. My name is Celio. Nice to meet all of you." He walks towards the center of the table, and on the Lazy Susan, he places a box. "I got mooncake. I thought it was rude to come without anything." Looks back. "Where's this kid?" Yuck. You enter, and what does the camera see?
The camera sees a very insecure 2'4", jade-toned kobold, who has like a very wavy, dark kind of foresty green like bob cut. She is in very traditional, like alii, the colors of the Dragon Spark Collective, while also wearing a leather belt that holds a small journal and a couple vials of colorful, fun fluids. And she's wearing gloves that are clearly too big for her, but are meant to look a little fancy. And she just stands there, like, very awkwardly, just...
"Please, come.
Okay.
And you see Celio looking around the table, more so at the seats that are unoccupied. They're like, this won't do. He touches one of the chairs, and all of a sudden the seat extends to become a high chair, and he pulls it out for you.
Thank you. And before I sit down, I just look around the room and I see Jeong Hwa, and I panic for a moment, and I just bow really hard at like a firm 90 degrees.
Roll me a dexterity save.
Oh goodness. It's fine.
DC 11.
18. It's like...
Okay. You are about an inch short of hitting your head on the desk.
And then I bow to the other two as well. No, and then I go and sit down. I like scramble into the high chair.
And as you scramble up the high chair, Celio starts to sit, takes about 4 mooncakes, and like, "Please, help yourselves," and just scarfs them down like they haven't eaten the whole day. You guys start to see how deep his eye bags are, as if like he's done an all-nighter and just went straight here.
Is everyone from the collective so unseemly?
Is this Jeong Hwa asking? Like, what do you mean?
You look like you haven't slept.
I don't need to
And you're
sleep.
scarfing food down as if a beggar.
I think he's the beggar. Damn right. And you see the beggar already, hands full with 5 mooncakes.
If I may, sorry for speaking out, but food is important for research and getting things done, and if we don't, the research isn't good, so then what would the point of being research if, doing research if we weren't going to eat and take care of ourselves?
Understood.
As this conversation has been going, Song has stood up and reached over and is beginning to serve the mooncake to everyone that hasn't already helped themselves. What better symbol and gesture of our community coming together? Unification of all of our people, perhaps. Sharing such a kind gesture of food.
Yes, thank you.
And after a while, a well-dressed man with the Senate's colors comes in. It is High Council member Orochi. You see like a human man roughly around his 60s. He has like this really thin goatee, neatly like tied bun. You see them have a black kind of armband to signify grieving, like a grievance because of the event, but he still wears his Senate uniform. He walks in, he closes the door. Says, "Welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you to each representative. I would like to begin the meeting." The door once more opens and food is now being ushered in, being served. Plates are there. You see a fried red snapper, just a whole, a few plates, like 3 fried red snappers there. You see a bunch of like beef or goat stews. You see like this really red hot stew with a bunch of mushrooms, tofu, and you see it's a mixture of different cultures from different parts of the nations. And Councilman Orochi goes and says, "May we have a meal of our shared cultures, and also the differences as well. This to signify our union to work together to make sure that the people are protected and that the succession of power is done fairly." And he starts as the meal is going. I realize that everybody may not know each other. If you could introduce yourselves to each other, please. The beggar says, "Do we really need to do that? Just tell us what we need to do. I'm starving." "Well, please help yourself." "It is a shame that our great sovereign has passed. We did not expect this to happen. It was done he died peacefully in his sleep. But now that he is gone, we need to figure out who will rule next and who will ensure that they put forward the needs of the people. And that's where the 4 of you come. Only the people in this room know who each representative is. And the reason for that is to not muddy the waters. We need you to make sure that You can decide on how we move forward based on the information that you know. It's standard procedure that we need you to assess and confirm that a sovereign's death was just and no foul play was a part of it. This has been so very sudden. I am at a loss for words, if I'm being so honest with you. But as the members of each house decided and agreed upon, the four of you, I trust that you may do the job properly. And I am more than happy to answer any of your questions if you may have any. He starts to sit down. He was about to sit down where Jeong Hwa was, and they don't mind it. They sit down on a free seat. Everybody roll me an insight check. DC 13.
24.
11.
24.
3.
Okay. Our two spy masters notice something about Councilman Orochi. The councilman is looking frail and weak, not from disease, but from exhaustion. Seems that they haven't eaten in the last few days. You would remember, as your time doing the work that you do, that Councilman Orochi and the Sovereign Tapia, they were best friends. And it's only normal that this man in front of you right now is heavily grieving and distraught, but still has a duty to the people and is trying to have a brave face on. Jeong Hwa and Nyok, you guys do not notice much about that. Whether the two of you are distracted with each other.
I am personally waiting to see if any of the syndicate eats their food first before I let any of my men eat.
Hoshiro is waiting.
Song.
I am the first to eat. I take a piece of fruit, a piece of bread, and then especially with Jeong Hwa at the honored seat and displacing the councilman, I have, of course, strategically placed myself next to them. And it is there that I am insisting that they have some juice.
You notice, Jeong Hwa, as you're waiting for the syndicate in particular to eat first, the beggar and the two kids, without hesitation, take bowls of rice and fill up bowls and plates of the food. They start eating, scarfing it down as if they haven't eaten days, weeks, maybe even months.
I look over to the captain and the two other guards and I just give a curt nod.
The
Allow them to eat.
The captain nods back at you as you notice that they were doing the same thing. They begin to serve, and they actually, Captain Song Yu actually serves you. In kind of a gesture of gratitude for taking this assignment.
I eat.
Hoshiro waits to eat until specifically Councilman Orochi and Jeong Hwa start eating.
Councilman Orochi starts eating, but very slowly. Celio just la 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 la, eat. The sooner you eat, the earlier we can actually do this meeting. Come on.
I'm gonna throw up. kind of want to throw up now.
He takes out something from his pocket, and he takes out like this kind of like, it looks like a dice bag. It's like this small bag, and is like, just spit in here.
And I pick little I do that thing that you do where you cut it up into little pieces so it looks like a lot was like eaten. And
Yeah.
I like take some and then like just put it
Yeah.
in the bag.
Yeah, you're noticing in the bag, it sounds cavernous inside. It is an extra dimensional bag.
I, for a split second, am very distracted by the bag instead of the meeting. And I'm like, no, we're here. We're here for business.
Councilman Orochi looks at you. Jeong Hwa. Miss Jeong Hwa. I am quite happy to see that you are the person leading the charge for your faction. I am looking forward to working with you. I assume that you and our fellow spy masters will be making sure that the death was of natural causes. Please, if there's anything that I can help you with, feel free to ask.
Thank you, High Counselor.
And the rest of you feel like the whole meet is basically for you guys to just beat each other. And I think at this point, after a while when the meal is done, Councilman Orochi just says, if there's no questions, I would like to excuse myself. That is okay. The rest of you.
We'll familiarize ourselves with each other. Please rest.
Captain Songryu says, I will make sure that the councilman gets back to their quarters safely. And she takes the guards and escorts the councilman. Siuyo says, look, I don't even know why I'm here. But just do a good job, and if you need me, I'll be at the collective. Okay?
Okay, but what is a good job? How are we defining that? Is there like a rubric that I can follow?
Looks at the other ones. Don't die.
Okay, that's one thing. I could do one thing.
Yes. I mean, we could probably we could probably revive you, but it might be
Okay.
painful.
So you think I might die?
Looks at Song. Maybe.
Is she a murderer? Why are you looking over there?
And looks at Hoshiro. Yeah. Don't die, it's painful. And he just kind of gets up and leaves.
Okay.
And you see the beggar pulling up his pants. Kind of like he loosened it a bit as he was eating. Hoshiro, we'll have our eyes on you, so. Okay.
I trust you'll find me.
Yes, and I'll trust you guys will do your job well. And leans over to you. Anybody can sit on that seat. And I mean anybody. And he starts to jump out of the window with the two children.
just before he turns away, loud enough so that everyone can hear, Hoshiro says, "Thank you for your advice, Beggar-sama."
Whee! And Dylan neatly puts their plate away. Miss Song, if you need
Yes.
help, please
Thank you
Stanza.
very much.
It was nice to meet all of you. Take my leave now. He walks out of the room, and you notice it was glossed over. But now you guys notice as the servers are cleaning up the meal, there is a stack of parchment and rolls of scrolls on a table in the corner that was probably brought in there like during the food being served.
Did I interest anyone in another plate of food? Beverage?
I walk over. I gesture. I like acknowledge you and kind of give like a very polite. Thank you very much. I'm losing my appetite, and I'm gonna go over to the scrolls of paper.
The scrolls of paper, the scrolls and the parchment hold accounts of the autopsy. And one of the scrolls is a magical scroll that when you open it up, it is an illustration. It kind of like an etch-a-sketch kind of fills up. And it illustrates how the sovereign was found. The sovereign was found sitting by their what's that space by your window where you can sit? It's
The windowsill?
windowsill, not the windowsill, the sun chair.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Like a
like a nook by the window. He's sitting there and a book on his lap. And he was there sitting, passed away in his sleep.
Have all
Jeong
of
Hwa,
our like
behind you is Hoshiro. The moment anyone touched those
Yeah,
scrolls,
yeah,
he
yeah.
was there.
Yeah. Before I even notice, are all of our attendants gone at this point? Is it just the four of us now?
Just the four of you.
I kind of, under my breath as I'm looking over this, just like kind of scoffing and, you know, obviously being very awful this entire dinner. He just fucking died. And then I turn to like wherever you are, and then I like pause to like mute the shock or like the surprise of suddenly someone right behind me. Step
does
to the
happen.
side.
And he steps forward.
Well, certainly, we can all just assume that something unfair happened, something of a cupbearer or something could have gotten into his quarters that night, but sometimes old men just die.
Most often, sovereigns don't just die. But you're right. Death is unfair like that. He just runs his tattooed fingers over the pages, reading, not looking up.
As you look into the pages, you notice one thing. The passive perception of fucking 20.
Yeah.
Your crow caws, and the rest of you hear. And it starts to fly on your shoulder. and it jumps down on the scroll of the image and pecks, and you look at it and you notice something. This is magically altered.
With Zencho kind of hopping around on the table, Hoshiro whistles, and Zencho just, like, in a blur of feathers into ink, kind of returns into the tattoo that is now back behind his ear. And he picks up the paper and looks at it like you would look at like a lenticular piece that maybe changes just in light.
Yeah.
And he's kind of moving it back and forth, Jeong Hwa, before he kind of leans it towards you. This has been altered.
I look over to Nyuk. You.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. And I do a little bow again.
You're from the collective. Look over this.
Oh, yes, okay. And as I'm like scuttling over, I am changing into more workshop gloves that are fingerless. May I touch it? I run my fingers on it, and because I have eyes of the maker, when I touch magic items or something imbued with magic, I learn its properties and how to use it, and whether it requires attunement, if it has any charges, and if any spells are affecting the item, and what they are.
Okay. So, first off, School of Magic, illusion. It's pretty cut and dry. It creates an illusion for you to see the image of what the person saw as they cast the magic on the scroll. But there is another form of illusion on top of it that altered certain things. What they are would require a check, but there is basically one charge for this, and that the magic item that this is its purpose is to take a photograph or like a visual representation of the crime scene. This was invented by one of your peers at the Dragonsmart Collective to help such cases.
Can I try and do a check to see what was altered?
Please make an Arcana check.
Okay, finally something I'm good at. I can do math. 19.
19. With a 19, with the right tools, with the right components, and with maybe a trip to the collective itself for like a reference book, you can probably reverse the image.
Okay, this is really, really interesting. And like my face is like centimeters away from this piece of paper.
Song, during this whole thing, what have you been doing?
I have been silently cleaning up. You'll see in the background, just very quietly, gracefully stacking plates together soundlessly and just tidying up the area, giving honor to the space that we just shared.
Okay. You're also one of those types of characters with insanely high passive stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely checking out, like on the low, I am definitely checking out all of the people that are here with me, trying to size them up, and I'm watching without being obvious.
As you're cleaning up, you notice by where the council member Orochi was sitting, there is some form of powder, like kind of dark powder, from where his hands were touching. They're kind of faint now because of like the servers like wiping down, but it's like this very thick, very heavy kind of powder that, if you would try, might take a while to kind of like scrape out and like take a sample of. But it's odd. Like it's not ink, it's not chalk. You're not quite sure what it is, but you find like this small like these small patches of like powder.
I imagine I keep tissue paper on myself for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
And I'll essentially gather the sample without touching it, using 2 pieces of tissue paper, rolling it up into a bundle. And I'll subtly slide it away.
Okay. And as you slide it away, the rest of you, what are you guys doing? Do you tell them that you found something?
No.
I will eventually if someone interrupts me, but I am so fascinated by this that I'm just like
Yeah.
in it.
You're definitely like, well,
Oh, well, okay, so clearly, like Hoshiro said, it's been altered. I could reverse it, but I need some supplies back at the collective. Are we allowed to take this out of here?
No one said we couldn't.
it's our assignment.
Okay. do
And
we
Song.
do that now? Sorry.
With your, I'm sure, wild passive insight, you know Hoshiro relatively well. They're eager, like a kid going on a roller coaster kind of eager. But it's all buried under layers and layers and layers.
And while Song sees that in you, what you see, Hoshiro, with the continuation of your passive perception, the rest of the papers, and Jeong Hwa, you looked at some of the things, autopsy notes. Underneath, probably the last stack of notes are each council member's accounts of what they were doing and what their last interaction with the sovereigns. So basically statements of like each council member of the Senate.
Hoshiro folds those very obviously in front of everybody, folds them neatly and tucks them inside of his kimono.
Yeah, like if you like on the side there is like kind of like a satchel that can hold all of them for you to be like, it kind of seems that it is implied that you guys will be taking notes.
Perfect. Then he meticulously starts kind of mirroring Song, but specifically with the papers, like meticulously putting them all back in a specific order and putting them into this case.
Fantastic.
Jeong Hwa starts to make arrangements for us to go to the collective immediately.
Okay. What kind of arrangements are these?
Like a beautiful ass carriage situation, something that maybe it is ostentatious. It very clearly like Steel Legion coming through, sort of transportation.
Okay. Give me. Let's see. I just need you to do a quick persuasion or intimidation check.
We'll do intimidation.
Yes, and this is how you guys are going to get through the city, because it is kind of like a capital
24.
wide. Okay. You were able to assert your dominance as a Steel Legion member. The rest of you getting to the Dragonspark Collective.
Hoshiro disguises himself the entire trip.
Okay. Roll me deception.
Okay. I am also like, the moment he sees this carriage, you see his face shift into a more like gingery human looking man using disguise self as well.
Okay. Do that with an advantage, please.
Oh, deception. 18.
18? Okay. I'll
Mhm.
take note of that. The rest of you guys get to the Dragonspark Collective. It takes a while. Faster than you expected with all the crowds in the street. But it does take a while. And as you get there, we will take our first break. Well, we will take our only break. Not first.
First of the series.
First of the series, yeah. But we will be back with some announcements and stand up, stretch, get some water, and we'll be back shortly. How's it going, everybody? I did a bad thing earlier and I did not mute my desktop audio. That was my bad. So sorry. Hopefully the music isn't obnoxious anymore. I sincerely apologize. But now that we're back, announcements for Bad House. Did you know that we just premiered a new game for our Darkness Eternal series? It's called Midnight Rush. Wonderful, wonderful cast. We have Laurel Rothmo, we got Ambrose, we got Joe and Stella as well, and I am the storyteller for that. If you like Hunter, if you feel so helpless and you want an outlet about how bad our fucking economy is, watch our show and maybe you can relate and root for our hunters. That's on Tuesdays for our Twitch stream, Mondays on Spotify and YouTube. But did you know that we had a Patreon? If you sign up for our Patreon for as low as $3, you can get it 4 days early. That's right, 4 days early. Tomorrow will be the launch for our first audio only version of Midnight Rush. So if video is too much for you and you want to just like listen to it, sign up to get early releases for that. And next week, Friday, we will have another pre-recorded show. It's been a while. We recorded this like late last year, but it is going to be our Halloween offering, the Take Back, a nightmare, a night crawlers game.
Crawlers.
Yes. GM'd by Sierra with wonderful talented people like Latia, Austin, Liz, Ambrose, myself, and GM'd by the wonderful Sierra of Autumn Moon Studios. And yeah, just so you know, this show is not going to be weekly. It is going to be every other week. Blame the scheduling gods for that. But hey, thank you for supporting us and joining us here. Again, if you want to support the show financially, you don't have to like spend for rerolls. Buy yourself something. !TOV will give you a link to our affiliate link. Get some Kobold Press stuff. If you enjoy what we're playing right now, Tales of the Valiant is a wonderful product, and you can get that with, I believe it's 10% off. I could be wrong. It could be higher, but definitely not lower. And that's for your whole purchase. Not only Tales of the Valiant, also previous products of Kobold Press, such as the Tome of Monsters, I believe is what it's called. Wonderful monsters. The way that they write their lore, the way that they change it from the other game that should not be named, is amazing. So yeah, check out their library. There's also a lot of fantastic things that are coming out of Kobold Press, like Castles and Crowns, which parts of it are being used for this campaign. Run your own political game. It's a fantastic buy. That being said, let's go back to the game. You guys get to the Dragonspark Collective. It is a huge structure of wood and kind of ceramic tile. Dragons, stone dragons, are ornately placed on each side of the stairs going up towards the collective, one of which is of an eastern, very wingless and four-legged dragon. The other is of a serpentine-like looking dragon that resembles that of South Asian folklore. As you walk up the stairs and the steps, you see a lot of downtrodden kind of looking. The music's too low now. Okay. There we go. And downtrodden like students and researchers. Most of you know this as the upstanding research facility of the capital of Albayin, the more legitimate counterpart of the Moonveil cartel. Moonveil cartel is known as the more no experimental black ops kind of facility. And as you walk up the stairs, it is this huge library of books flying across like just the air, going to where it looks like a sci-fi highway of cars moving through the city. Nyuk, you know that it's quite quiet nowadays, as the books that are flying in the air are less than they are as you're normally used to. You get to the concierge. How can I help you? It is a small, blue-skinned, tusked, goblin-like creature. A tokebi. Face paint. How can I help you? He's sitting in a pot and eating peanuts.
Do I know where I need to go? Like, what specific book I have to get?
You know what specific book you have to get, but you're not quite sure where it is in this facility because you have been stationed elsewhere. You know that you need a illusion breaking spell. You can ask for such, and they might be able to.
Do you know how to direct me possibly to illusion related literature?
And he just like leans over on the chair. Okay. And he pulls a lever. And the rest of you, please roll me dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh no.
Amazing.
7.
DC is 13.
I just
10.
got 13.
Yeah, what did you roll?
13 exactly.
Okay. So the two of you keep on your feet. The other two fall flat as the carpet that you were on moves quickly and briskly, like a stationary like elevator from the airports, but in insane speeds. And it brings you to the section. You're in the aisles of books, and you see that there's a small card that says illusions on the...
Hoshiro reaches down to offer a hand to Song.
Song very graciously puts their hand in yours and holds very tightly, accepting it.
And just as delicately as possible helps them to their feet.
Oh, thank you.
Think nothing of it.
As fast as possible, this 7-foot-tall woman just like, interesting.
It's for efficiency.
I see.
Nyuk, in front of you, you see a bunch of books, and One catches your eye, breaking codes, hexes, and illusions in one. Like, you see it on the spine.
Okay, beautiful. Is it at reachable level?
No. For you, no.
How
everybody
how
else it
high up
is.
is it?
About on the 5th shelf.
Would you consider a ladder that tall a medium-sized object?
Sure.
Okay. Nope is going to open one of the vials, and it's gonna come out like a metallic-looking flubber. And she's gonna touch it, and it slowly just shifts into the shape of a ladder, and she's
Okay.
gonna climb up it.
Okay.
Okay.
Huh.
This is what we need.
Fascinating. I've never
Let's
seen
get a private
something like
room.
that before.
A ladder?
Contained within a vial?
Oh, it's a shard.
Oh. Excellent.
Wait, sorry, is this one of those things that's a secret that we're not supposed to talk about?
Well, don't worry. I'm very good at keeping secrets.
Okay, thank you. And Nope's gonna like tap it and have it kind of turn back into a little flubber and go back into its vial.
It starts to flip, like, not violently, but like very vigorously, and goes back into the vial.
Are there private rooms?
There are.
Okay, I will start leading the group towards a private room.
You lead the group to a private room. It has tables. It has pretty much beakers, Bunsen burners, containers. It has a sink in there. It has a book holder. It has a huge blackboard as well. It looks like the previous person that was working here solved an equation for breaking enchantment spells.
Dang. Sorry, okay. And I'm gonna put the book out and try and find where I need to go for this.
Sure. Roll me a perception check. Or investigation.
Okay, it could be
I almost said
investigation.
academics.
No.
Wrong game.
Wrong system.
Wrong system.
Ooh, false 20.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you easily look at the table of contents. You flip through it, and you see a illustration there of like a person turning one way to another, and you see ingredients there. Pretty simple ingredients. Some probably have stock here in the collective. You need iron shavings. You need these are specific to the form of invention that you have. Iron shavings, fire. You need a kind of like acid solution, and you will be able to concoct this. Unfortunately, the private rooms don't have the components, but the components should be in the basement where the components are always at.
Okay, do we have to pay for these?
No, as you are a part of the collective, you do not. If you are not a part of the collective, that's when you need to pay.
Okay, so we just have to go downstairs to get the ingredients to cast the spell?
There's not a lot of ingredients, so it's either you or another person can go.
Someone can't retrieve them given your status?
I apologize if I misled you. I really just do little projects. I'm not really like a leader in this.
Perhaps you are more of a leader than you realize. You were chosen for this.
I assumed all the more important people were kind of busy.
Let us make use of your ingenuity then, and you can find means to gather those materials, perhaps quickly.
Oh, they're free. I just gotta go.
Retrieve
Oh.
them.
How about you and I go together? Perhaps our
Okay.
companions can occupy the room while we're gone.
That's true. They both look kind of scary, so maybe people won't kick them out. Sorry, that was really rude. You just look very assertive.
To some, that would be a compliment.
Okay. And I'm gonna start like moving like awkwardly, like
This poor girl.
This poor person, this poor little kobold.
You guys go to the basement. Are there any conversations had on both sides? Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
When I have you alone, I'll wait until you start gathering things, and I'll bring out the bundle that I created. So, on the subject of secrets, trust is a difficult thing with too many people in the room. I'm very good with people, being part of the Nameless Cabinet. And from what I've seen of you, I think that I can trust you.
I think so too. I've never broken a pinky promise in my life.
Well, perhaps we can keep this between the two of us unless it becomes relevant and helpful to share. And I hold out my pinky to you. And as you touch my pinky and we lock them, you'll notice that my white skin almost glitters, as if there's a fine dust on me, but it doesn't transfer. It's just a texture of my skin. And it's very cold to the touch. Drawing my hand back, I pull out the bundle and I open it. You see 2 pieces of tissue paper separate, and there is powder left over. I discovered this in the councilman's seat when I was cleaning up the table. I do not know what this is.
Do you think it's magic?
Unfortunately, I am not versed in such things, but I do believe it is perhaps something that might become a component to magic. Perhaps you can identify it.
I can try. I don't know that we have time now, but I can try.
And I'll pass it over.
I unfortunately do not presently have it prepared. Can I do anything just from touching it?
No, but you can probably take some solvents from the supply room and make an Arcana check at the private room.
Okay, I'll grab some extra materials and I grab other things.
Do you need help carrying anything?
I think I'm okay here. And I'm gonna pull out a small disc. And I'm gonna cast a floating disc, and I just place everything on it.
Oh, excellent.
Well, if you don't want to walk, because you kind of struggled with the carpet, you can sit on this if you want.
I did, didn't I? And Song will sit down, but like not just like folding their legs underneath them. They recline, right? They stretch out. Their legs are spread like forward.
Like they're on a
and
grand piano.
Yes, 100%. They are striking a pose and they are comfortable.
As you guys are walking back, a lot of the other students are like just enamored at your presence. And you guys come back. Before you guys return, Jeong Hwa, Hoshiro, do you guys have a conversation with you?
I think the moment the other two leave, Hoshiro finds a clear spot on the floor to just very elegantly dust his kimono off, straighten the front of his clothes, and kneel and stare into the middle distance.
Okay, while you're doing that, roll me a perception check, please.
Okay. That is a dirty 20.
With a dirty 20, you hear from outside murmurs. Think the sovereign was killed? No, I think he just died of natural causes. He is kind of old. Yeah, but isn't he a half elf? So they can die? Yeah, sure, but look, guy was 200 years old. Like, I'm not gonna be surprised if he drops dead. The thing that I'm worried about is who's gonna take his place. Yeah, that's true. I hope it's not some militant nut job that's gonna make us work on weapons like they do at the Moonvale cartel. Yeah, I hear you. Well, I hope they just have an election, but you know, these bureaucrats, they do what they want. True. Very true. The voices start to disappear in a distance. And lastly, with the 20. Actually, no, that's what you hear with the 20. With your 20. Is your familiar out? Any familiars out? No, none?
Yeah, I think once, like, when we got in the room immediately, you noticed that anytime he's gonna be anywhere for a duration, he sends Zencho to go sit somewhere kind of out of the way where no
Okay.
one would notice a raven just sitting there.
Roll me the Raven's perception, please.
Sure.
Do I see the tattoo becoming the raven?
Yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't hide it. And
Okay.
the moment we got here and like got out of the carriage, he changed back. It's like he didn't want to be seen with your carriage for some reason. Perception. Ooh, come on, buddy. That's an 8.
That's an 8. You jump into your familiar's eyes, and what you see are two students making out behind one of the shelves. And you hear them giggling, and all of a sudden you hear one stop. It's like, I still can't believe that they chose that little critter, little kobold. You should have been council member. It's like, it's whatever. I don't know what they see in that kid anyway, but
I'm gonna need names and faces, man. What the fuck is
hey, you don't hear this.
I don't hear anything.
Hoshiro does.
Josephine needs names.
Yeah.
He just keeps all this. Like he put away all the papers into that case, he just files it.
The two return. The silence is palpable. The tension so thick, and cut it with a knife. And you guys are now there.
I think the floating disc floats in first.
Hoshiro stands up a moment before you arrive.
I arrive reclining.
Iconic.
Marvelous.
Then I carefully roll off and where would you like me to help you put these?
Oh, I was thinking that I would just use this as the table because that way then we don't leave any residue anywhere else on the room. Because if this is supposed to be a secret, we don't want anyone to maybe guess what we're doing. I think that's a good idea. And I look around the room waiting for someone else to nod.
Oh yes, very clever.
We should likely guard the door then. And he says that looking to Jeong Hwa.
All right.
eye shade.
I stand near the door.
As you start the experiment, roll me an Arcana check. If there is
Are
a
they
spell
both-
that you wanted to use as well, just let me.
Well, are they both looking outside the room first? Like while they're guarding the door?
Yeah, sure. Like, I think I'm...
Roll me perception.
yeah,
Jeong Hwa.
I was gonna say. That is a flat 19.
There's a foxkin that looks into, like, the door has like a small window, and as the foxkin looks at the door, sees a 7-foot orc just standing there, just and just starts walking away, just looks back. It's like, what the fuck? But nothing's as suspicious or out of the ordinary.
I would like to, if the other two have their backs turned, make the concoction for song first, really quickly. To make and then put on the little powdery stuff.
Okay. You
And that's
look at
also-
it, it is a fungus. Roll me Arcana.
25.
25 is a poisonous fungus.
Oh.
It can be administered through touch or through ingestion. Deadlier for ingestion. Takes a while through touch.
So one of my specialties is making poisons.
Yeah.
Can I tell if this was manufactured?
It's natural. It's like a fungus. Like they're like pure, uncut. Like it wasn't mixed with anything. Regardless, it's still as dangerous.
I am going to give one of them back to Song and put one in my own little satchel, and I'm going to try and communicate like a look as best I can to be like, we should talk about this. And then I'll start working on the illusion.
Another Arcana check.
Can I use my reroll? I got a nat 1.
That's up to you.
I'm gonna use my reroll.
Okay.
26.
Okay, with a 26, you do the necessary concoction. You spread it over, and you blow off the excesses. As you blow off the excess, you see the new image. The same pose, but you now see a handkerchief near the sovereign's knee, and you notice the blackening of the fingertips. Blackening, or maybe it's a little hard to see because of the color saturation. Either it's bluing or blackening. And then you notice the book changes from a regular storybook to an unmarked kind of journal.
Do you maybe want to close the door and come in?
To Jeong Hwa?
Yes. Oh, I thought both of you were there. Sorry.
No, Hoshiro's largely just been minding his own business. I think he noticed that you were doing something, but has no idea if it was poison or what. He doesn't know this stuff, so he's just like, sure, they're working.
Yeah. I think the door is already closed. Jeong Hwa's
Mhm.
just making sure that, like,
Nobody's peeping
people...
in.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not paying attention.
So you... I look over at Song. I think we have to talk about the thing.
Ah, all right. One moment, please. And I'll head over to the door and very gently pull it open. If you don't mind, please join us inside.
Okay.
You close the door.
And I'll hold up a finger and I'll pace around the room to make sure that it's like... I want to check for any like hidden walls or any potential like peepholes or anything just to secure the room.
Perception check.
Okay. 16.
Okay. Other than an emergency hatch, you don't find anything suspicious. In terms of like secret compartments or exits or entrances.
I hold up a finger and I begin to pace the room. I run my hands over the walls and some of the shelves and eventually make my way back. All right, I think we're alone.
Could everyone put their hands in a circle, maybe?
For what?
For security, you're really scary, but like my thing is I'm good at magic, so like please trust me.
Why do you need our
Maybe.
hands?
So we can communicate in a way that's not outside voices.
Fine.
Puts the hand in.
Yeah,
Um,
Hoshiro puts his hand out.
I'm gonna pull
No.
out like this really janky looking copper wire and I'm gonna wrap it between my finger and like other people's hands. And I'm gonna be casting just because I am the subclass of adept cantrips, I'm just gonna be continuously casting message.
Okay.
And for the sake of time, I'll just say I'm repeating it to everyone.
Yeah.
And I start pointing out all the changes in the portrait, and I look at Song before I start talking about the poison powder. So we found some powder, and it's a very slow acting poison. And it's activated through touch. So the longer in contact it's with someone, it's like a slow assassination, kind of. And that's what his fingertips kind of look like in the portrait.
So there was foul play.
You believed there wasn't?
Well, I was still on this thing of maybe he just died, but good job, Nyok.
Thank you. I think it might help if we find whatever that journal is.
We have the names of the council members that have given their last statements. We're going to need some sort of council, some sort of audience with the current people in the cabinet. However,
I want to see the room.
I look over to Song. You know, not Hoshiro, who might also have any indication, might also have some kind of like education or prestige in this. Though I ask you from the nameless cabinet, poisons. This is dark and dreary work. This is the work of assassins. Should we perhaps not seek a council so outward, and maybe something where we single out certain members first, see if we can singularly reach out, although that might take the most time.
I do believe there might be benefit in doing both. Knowing what we do, and if we keep it to ourselves, we might be able to see how they react amongst each other. And where the powder was found, there are one of two possibilities. Either the councilman was involved, or perhaps the councilman might potentially be a second target.
I'm kind of good at poison if I can just see his hands.
It would be natural for us to want to ask questions. The councilman is, after all, or my apologies, was one of the closest people to the sovereign. A private audience should not be difficult to find.
We'll start there.
And as you conclude to where you should go next, the dinner bell rings, which signifies that the library is closing for the day.
We should probably find somewhere else to go because they're gonna start sweeping and kicking us out.
We are representatives of the High Counselor. Surely we can stay here as long as we need.
It's a rule.
Where do we continue then?
I have a room.
A dormitory?
I do have a roommate though, but I'm sure she would let us I'm sure she would leave.
Perhaps I shall host you. I occupy a lounge. Sometimes I take clients there, but I'm sure we can secure more private space.
Okay.
It would be an honor.
I can secure some foodstuffs for us, unless you would have the hospitality prepared.
Of course. But whatever gives you the most comfort, my lord.
Just not a God's damned dormitory.
And with that, we close the scene with the four of you, but move over to a different part of this. Scraggly man, looking nervous, looking around. The light posts are. He avoids the light posts skillfully, as if this isn't the first time he's done it. Underneath a bridge, he waits until a shadowy figure comes up behind him. Oh, shit. Hey. I've been in hiding for like a few days now. Here's the book that you wanted. Are you sure that... The figure says, are you sure that you were able to cover your tracks? No one knows of this book. Yeah, I did the whole thing with the photo too, yeah. The autopsy, took the money you gave me, and the autopsy just, you know, it showed blank. Yeah. Good. And in a flash, the tinge of metal, you see the man step into the light holding his neck. My money. My money. There was never any money. Thank you. As the figure slips into the shadows, the guy suddenly falls into the creek, being washed away by the current. The screen goes black, and we will see you again in 2 weeks, everybody. The first episode of Sun and Chains. Thank you so much for joining us. Round of applause for our wonderful cast. Let's go around and meet them again, learn where we can find them, and yeah, let's start with Kai.
Oh gosh. Hi everybody, I'm Kai. You can find me everywhere as a Stella of Imladris. You can find me on Sundays playing a horrible 80s vampire werewolf man in the Doomsayers over on Taino Tales. You can find me on Mondays on both Stealing the Show over on Queen's Court Games, where we are running Curseborn. And I'm playing a emotional vampire, and it's a good time. And then, because it's a double feature on Mondays for me, Outrunners over on Happy Jack's RPG, where we're playing Starscape. And that's plenty of fun for me for now. But
Does you have another
2 weeks.
Another
I have
Kobold
so many
Creates project?
Oh, that one's done.
Okay.
You can go check it out though. Kobold Creates. I did Loom of Severed Strands with No Quest for the Wicked. It was such a good time. I played a cute little druid raised by wolves. And you can go find them at No Quest Cast, wherever you pod your casts.
Hell yeah. Sin.
Salutations again, my name's Sin. You can find me on various social medias that I remember to use as sensationally.me. I'm doing a lot more background stuff right now, so my really big project is Air 313. It's 8 episodes. Season 1 wraps up in 2 weeks if people want to check it out wherever you can find podcasts. And on Sundays, I play a little hobbit at Imagination Arcade. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Joe.
Hello, everyone. I am Josephine, as Scary Dog Friend. I have been Jeong Hwa. Oh gosh, over at Bad House RPG on Tuesdays will be Midnight Rush days, where me and Stella will be playing Hunters. Every other Monday is going to be my Kobold Creates project coming out. So the next episode of the Low Ranked Women miniseries that we have will be Mondays at 8 p.m., where you can find Jay, Darby, and Aki also being in a wonderful all East Asian cast, where we talk about and provide a story within the East Asian concubinage hierarchy system, and it's just a lot of fun historical fantasy stuff. I do Monster Fuckers Anonymous podcast and all sorts of things. Over on Nameless Domain, we are gearing up for a Pokemon Showdown tournament, where if you want to go see some wonderful personalities play Pokemon for charity, we have lots of fun stuff going on over there as well. That's me.
Last but not least, Stella.
Hello, I'm Stella Luna on Twitch, stellalunaTV on all other social media. I'm a TTRPG producer and performer. I do this all the time. You can find all of my information over on my social media, including my upcoming scheduled things and everything I'm involved in. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh yeah. And my name was Fabian, your game master. You can find me Mondays, storytelling at Midnight Rush. It's one of our most ambitious projects. Please check it out, support it. If you don't like the whole video format, Mondays is where you can get our what you call this podcast audio only on wherever you pod your casts. And next Friday we are premiering the Take Back, where I play an old ghost man who died in a mosh pit. But yeah, we'll catch you guys again in 2 weeks to continue this thrilling, mysterious political drama, Sun and Chains. That's it for us. Have a good one, guys. Good night.